One of my favorite things to teach is to show people how to lock up the hands. In this case, we're going to do the bass line from what I'd say 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. We're going to talk about practicing hands separate and hands together. And in our right hand, we're going to do the lick that's from the song, but also we're going to do the most famous lick at iMusicAcademy. I call it the one that started it all because it's the first one from Blues Volume 1. And we're going to talk about how do you actually lock up the right hand and the left hand, even from the what I'd say bass line with this lick right here, and we'll also do this lick right here. So make sure you like this video, leave a comment, that really helps me, and also consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed to iMusicAcademy. All right, let's dig right in. The first thing is you have to get comfortable with the bass line. I use the fingering 5, 3, 2, 1, and it fits right under the hand. And the trick is getting used to the counting 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. That's section 1 of the bass line. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now that we have the metronome turned on, we're at 85 beats per minute, and listen to me count in ands. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. This is important because of the groove itself has beats on the and. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The and of 4 is such an important note, that C down there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Another thing that I want you to notice is the second beat. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. That 2 and, the repeated note, is another important note that often trips people up if you're not used to thinking like that. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. And notice that I'm going to hit 2 and. 1, 2, and. So that's a full quarter note beat right there on the C. 1, 2, and. And then I go 3 and 4 and. And there's that tricky part, 4 and. So listen to this again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. And then I come back on beat 2 with just a quarter note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And those are just quarter notes the second time. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. We're just going to loop that for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to show you a very important trick you can do. So we're at 85 beats per minute, but I can actually think twice as slow as that. I can think of it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I always say that if you can play it slow and straight, you can do anything. At iMusicAcademy, I often tell you guys, hey, if you're having trouble, slow it down, straighten it out, and figure out the solution. So if I'm playing this 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, the only reason I can do that is because I spent a lot of time trying to learn how to play the ands, how to play the offbeat. Those are also called syncopated beats. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. It's kind of offbeat, so a syncopated offbeat feel. But we can get it if we play it slow and straight. Listen to this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I do realize that it takes a lot of work to do left hand only, right hand only, and then eventually put the hands together. But the work you're doing just left hand only is the foundation, and you will see the results if you continue to play things slow and straight and just really think about, even from a mathematical perspective, of what are we doing here? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And you identify the tricky spots. The first one on this one, remember, is the 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. But the other important note, which is equally as important, is beat 2. 1 and 2 and, because it's a repeated note. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 2 little spots there. Okay, before we do the lick from the chorus, we're going to do the Ray Charles lick that actually goes with the bass line. I want to show you a little trick. So the first thing is your thumb is on F, your index finger is on F sharp, and you slide up to the G, and then fingers 4 and 5 go on B flat and C. So you have this idea. That's your target note, G, da da da, and now you have to go F sharp to F, and that's a finger slide from your third finger down to your third finger. In the same way you isolated your left hand, you're going to do that same thing with this lick right here. This is such a fun lick to get under your fingers. And notice how I'm just doing it over and over. And I'm making sure my slide gets that G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So if I actually turn on the metronome, same way that I did earlier, we're going to have this idea. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. If I needed to slow it down, let's try that again. Okay, now let me turn the metronome off and let's talk about locking up the hands there. Okay, you've done the hard work. You've done your left hand and right hand, and it may take you a couple weeks to get. It may take you a couple days or just a few minutes. Doesn't matter. The main thing is you follow the process. Now we have to figure out how to lock up the hands. The first thing is figure out where does beat 1 happen. My C goes with my F, F sharp, and G, but G is the target note, so 1 is right there. 1 and 2. So notice that beat 1, the C and G are together, 1, and B flat is by itself. 1 and beat 2 is my G note. 1 and G with C. 1 and 2 and. But remember that G is repeated. So 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3. That's by itself, the B flat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And right here is the and. Remember that the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the tricky spot. The and of 4. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. B flat goes with the C. Let me do that a couple more times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And that's by itself. Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now let me go ahead and turn on the metronome just so you guys can hear how it sounds with the metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Listen to this. And if you need to break it down even more, just remember, take it one beat at a time. 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and. That's a good goal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, now to something a little more accessible. The most popular lick at iMusicAcademy. fits right under the hand, and it's a continuous eighth note line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just a reminder for you guys, you slide from your index finger minor third to major third, and then an F chord in second inversion. Then you get up into the keys and you do your C7 chord. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3. And that's right out of Blues Volume 1. It's also in the new chorus. It definitely made the list of 20 tips you can practice for 5-minute success, because you take these 2-measure phrases. If you have just a short amount of time to practice, this is a great example to practice. And actually the bass line for the chorus is this. And as a bonus for all of your hard work, I want to show you how to lock up the Ray Charles bass line with example 1 from iMusicAcademy. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and once again we said the continuous bass line is really going to help us out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now let's figure out where the beats line up. Locking up the hands. So 1 and 2 and. All right, so notice what happened. At first, beat 1 is that minor third to major third. 1 to, against the C. 1 and 2 and. Notice that I went to F and A as beat 2, and then the and gets the C. 1 and 2 and. And then I go up to B flat. Notice that those are together, G and B flat. 1 and 2 and 3. That's really nice to have those line up together. 1 and 2 and 3, and that's by itself. 4, beat 4 gets F and A with the C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice that the and of 4 gets the C notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What's so nice about that line is it continually does eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So notice that the and always gets the C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And even on the second half of the bass line, 2 and 3 and 4 right here, and 1 and 2. The G note comes in on beat 2. G and B flat again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and right here. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now let me turn on the metronome and let's practice that for a minute. Okay, first I'll play it fast. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now I'll slow it down. 1 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3. Okay, now I'll start locking it up again. 1 and 2. F and A get the G. 1 and 2 and the C gets the G. 1 and 2 and 3. G and B flat together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. F and A gets the C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The and of 4s get those C's. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, here we go. And then put it all together. I want want to encourage you with these words. Learning how to lock up the hands is a journey. It's something that you learn how to do. It's a process. So you learn how to do left hand only with the metronome, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And notice that I'm counting out loud. Even counting out loud is foreign to a lot of people. It was to me when I first started doing it. You're trying to play with the left hand and trying to count out loud, but it does get easier. Even practicing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in order to play this music and to play it in time, you need to learn how to count in different ways. In this specific example, we're counting in ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And same thing with the right hand. And that helps us not only play on the off beats where it's syncopated, offbeat feel, but it helps us mathematically figure out where the beats line up. And then you take it very slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then you start to put things together. And then you build a whole lot of confidence when you're playing in time. And if you're going to do one or the other, I would suggest you doing this lick right here, the most popular one, because it's an even running eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3, and it will mathematically help you put it together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Thank you to those of you who have decided to get the new resource that's available. But just thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And let's keep going. Keep commenting on my videos. Subscribe if you haven't done that. Make sure you like this video. And I hope you have a fantastic day. See you in the next video.